Hey, this is Patrick with TakeTheTruck.com. Today I wanted to do a quick walk around of our 2004 Tacoma. In December of 2021 we picked this up and we ended up selling our old 84 Toyota that we'd built for travel as a family of three. And over the last year we've been kind of busting it non-stop trying to get this thing dialed for traveling with our second child, Atticus, who was born in August of this last year. So we're pretty stoked to hit the road again. It's been quite a process, cramming an entire build into a year's time frame, but we did it, and the truck's more or less completed. I'm sure there's going to be a few things that we change along the way, but we definitely wanted to focus on maximizing our comfort, taking advantage of some newer tech that had come out since the last build, as well as just in general taking advantage of a newer vehicle than something from the 80s. So let's take a look at it.
Alright, so this is our first gen Tacoma. It's a 2004 TRD off-road with the 3.4 liter V6 and the factory e-locker equipped. We waffled back and forth between the first gen Tacoma and the first gen Tundra, and ended up ultimately landing on the Tacoma for a couple reasons. One is that 3.4 liter V6 is a non-interference engine, so if you lose a timing belt, the valves aren't going to make contact with the pistons and your engine isn't going to be a paperweight. You can just throw a new timing belt and tensioner on there and reset the timing and you're good to go. With the 4.7 liter V8 in the Tundra, it's an interference engine, so if you lose the timing belt on that, it's going to grenade the engine and be SOL. They did offer the 3.4 liter V6 in the first gen Tundra for a few years, but I feel like it's underpowered for that platform. Plus, we just really like the kind of mini truck-esque form factor of the first gen Tacoma before the body style started ballooning. As with any vehicle, especially any used vehicle, you have to kind of make yourself aware of their weaknesses or shortcomings before you make a purchasing decision. On the first gen Tacomas, the number one is frame rust issues. Toyota did a bunch of warranty claims on their frames due to a kind of less than stellar undercoating job, causing rust issues. So a clean frame was our number one buying criterion. We were lucky enough to find a really clean one that still had the factory paint marks on it, and it was a fortunate find. But the other shortcoming on these trucks is the factory lower ball joint is just kind of a poor design. It puts opposing forces on the lower ball joint, and if they're not replaced at routine intervals or frequently, if you're off-roading, they can separate and the whole wheel and hub assembly can fold underneath the vehicle or depart it entirely. So that was something we wanted to try to find a fix for, and fortuitously Total Chaos Fabrication just recently came out with a 1-inch uniball conversion, some like 20 plus years into that design, that solved the problem. So we scooped up one of those and installed it. It just replaces the lower ball joint assembly with a housing for one of their 1-inch uniballs, so it's easily serviceable, replaceable. It may require more frequent servicing, so you got to spray it with Teflon-based dry lube regularly, but you don't have to worry about it departing the vehicle. Let's see. Mechanically, we obviously updated everything. Even though this was really well taken care of by the previous owner, we replaced all the seals and gaskets and consumable mechanical components like tie rod ends and ball joints and radiator, water pump, all that stuff. Basically everything's brand new OEM. As well as all the fluids were switched over to full synthetic Redline. is what I like to run. Other than the coolant is the Toyota OEM pink coolant. Installed ARB air locker. Most people I've seen install them on a firewall or make some sort of bracket here. We were lucky enough that we've got the smaller cruise control on this truck and the cleaner ABS system. So the ABS bracket actually was nice and flat and easy to mount this this compressor to, nice and cleanly. Over here we've got our entire power system. Is this Dakota Lithium DL Plus 135 amp hour starting deep cycle battery. This is kind of bleeding edge tech, this underbonnet lithium. At least here in the US, the Australians have been doing it for a number of years, so we kind of leaned into their experience to quell some of our fears before jumping on that. But it's truly a game changer, and we've got a video on the channel that goes into deeper detail. But it provides twice the amount of power, nearly twice the amount of power as our old solar generator and dual battery system, in the size of a Group 24 starting battery. And it charges right off the truck's alternator, so we can power all of our camping gear, fridge and stuff for a number of days, and then just start the truck up and it's fully recharged in an hour and a half or 2 hours. So it's a game changer. For off-road lighting, we went with these Baja Designs LP9 Pro. We ran the LP6s on the old truck, and it was more than sufficient light output for our needs and probably most people's needs. We may add some ditch lights just for scoping out campsites and stuff, but we're keeping an eye on wildlife in heavily wooded areas. But we really like the stock bumper on these Tacomas. The approach angle really isn't the limiting factor, it's the departure angle on these trucks. So we decided we'd keep it, at least for now, or until we tear it up on a trail. But we found a little fab shop out in Idaho that makes these hidden winch mounts, and threw a Warren M8000 winch on there, same one we've used for the last 10 years or so. And this time we went with synthetic winch rope. They're Warren's Epic 1.5 inch Haas Fairlead and a Factor 55 Ultra hook on there. Did install a full stainless steel Bud built skid plate on there to protect all those delicate IFS parts. I'm used to romping around in a leaf sprung solid axle truck. I'm afraid I'm going to break something on this one, so I feel like I got to be a little bit more dainty and a little bit more protected. We did install some hood louvers to help improve engine bay ventilation after the skid plate, just to keep plastics from degrading prematurely and to help protect that lithium battery. For wheels, went with American Racing Aero 23s. I really wanted to run the old factory Steelies like we had on the old truck, but they just didn't clear the brake caliper without wheel spacers, and I'm not a big fan of wheel spacers, so these kind of keep that same vibe alive and allow us to run 331050s and they're 15-inch rims, so that's one of our favorite tire sizes for travel anyways, the way we do it. Went with ADS racing shocks all the way around. They're 2.5-inch adjustable coilovers with remote reservoirs, and they go up to 3-inch lift on these trucks. I've got it set at 2, and same shocks in the rear. We paired them with Old Man Emu Dakar leaf springs with the extra leaf, because we were always happy with Old Man Emu on our old truck. So we'll run those for now anyways. And then 1.25-inch over stock Daystar shackles with greasable pins and bushings front and rear, just for serviceability. Let's see, stock rear bumper. Again, the departure angle is the limiter on this truck, as well as most of the modern Tacomas. So that would be probably one of the next upgrades if when needed, if it's limiting us when we're driving off-road. But I did install the OEM tow hitch on there with a factor 55 hitch link for a rear recovery point. The factory tow hitch was getting a bit crusty. And a MagnaFlow catback exhaust. And we did end up having to bite the bullet and install a snorkel, a safari snorkel with a Cyclone 9001 series pre-cleaner. I'm not a huge fan of the Dorkel, as we call them, but some vehicles are necessary. This one, on the first gen Tacomas, the air intake is right behind the wheel well shroud in there, so it's definitely exposed to a lot of dust, dirt, debris, water. So added that to keep all that junk out of the air intake. The roof rack, nobody made one that fit in front of the Go Fast camper, so I kind of had to cobble this together using Sherpa equipment, universal rack, or load bars, and I think it's a Thule roof track that I modified to fit that space. But it was primarily just to keep our Max Tracks stored somewhere out of the way, but still easily accessible. And obviously we went with the Go Fast camper again. Camper's so nice, we bought one twice. This is a V2 model, so instead of the welded steel space frame, it uses a completely aluminum extruded space frame. So it's got a lot more corrosion resistance. It's still super robust. Uses kind of like a mortise and tenon type connection in there. The guys that build those things are just super solid dudes, and they really know what they're doing. We're big fans of Go Fast campers. And then we recently added this Kinsman hardware awning. It's a 270 degree awning made by a company based in the US that designs and sources all of their materials in the US, and in our opinion it's one of the best, if not the best, 270 awning on the market. It uses this welded steel truss design. It's super robust, and has those secondary arms to help water shed. Opens up in a matter of seconds, and like the Go Fast, it's super quick to deploy, and it's something we've been saving up for a number of years, and finally bit the bullet. But it's robust enough to where you don't have to use poles and guy lines unless you're dealing with some severely high winds, like 35 plus mile an hour. We do use the posts for hanging a hammock off the awning, which is really nice when you're camped somewhere like in the desert where there's no trees around. Let's see, as far as the interior goes, we did upgrade the seats to these really swanky Schulman 10-point adjustable Vario F seats. These were a big investment for us, but came highly recommended for people with back issues, especially from other travelers that we've talked to that have back issues. Lindsay's had some issues over the last few years, and probably not helped too much by romping around the country in a leaf-sprung Toyota pickup for 100,000 miles. They're super nice. We can drive crush 12+ hour days and not feel driving fatigue. So they are worth it for us and the amount of driving we do. For comms, we went with Yaesu FTM 400 XDR ham radio. got the remote mounted there on the side of the console. The WeatherTech floor mats. Upgraded the stereo to a more modern dual-DIN Bluetooth, GPS, Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, hands-free calling, backup camera. kind of brought it into the 21st century a bit more. And then I did do a couple of kind of geek mods here. I added the Toyota VIP security system, glass break sensor, and I go into more detail on that on the build post on our site if you're curious about that. It's a neat little mod for any 2003, 2004 Tacomas. And then of course I did the standard gray wire mod that allows you to engage the e-locker in two-wheel drive and four-wheel high. And they didn't offer the double cabs in a manual transmission, so my soup stirring days are over, I guess, at least until this transmission goes out and I have to replace it with a manual. And the big one, room for two kids. For those of you that don't know, our old truck had a bench seat, and Emmeline sat between us in the middle, and we did a little over 100,000 miles traveling like that all over the country, and it was fine. It was tight, but we made it work. But this feels like an incredible amount of space. It probably wouldn't to most people, because these double cab Tacomas are still pretty small vehicles, but for us and our lowered expectations, this is quite a game changer. So plenty of room for the kids, toolbox, and I did manage to squeeze all of our recovery gear, NOCO booster, factory service manual, tire repair kit, first aid kit, all back behind there. So that's nice. Keep everything kind of tucked out of the way. As far as the camper goes, the layout is super similar to our old truck. Got the mountain hatch tailgate panel, still rocking the ARB Elements 12-volt fridge, and we just pull that out and set it beside the truck when we're making camp, and we got plenty of room in there to stand up with the Go Fast panels opened up for changing or just hanging out in inclement weather. And then the same 10-gallon DIY water container and gravity shower, and I've got a write-up on the site if you haven't seen that before. It's a pretty cool solution. It's relatively inexpensive, and it's super easy. I can just I can backfill the tank out of a water spigot without removing it from the truck, or our MSR Guardian water filter fits on that nozzle up there, and can fill it from a river or lake if we need to. Obviously the aluminum 6-pound propane tanks built into the platform, same as the old one. The two 12-volt power outlets are there for charging cell phones and running the fridge. I did put a splice in underneath the panel for adding more outlets as needed, and then that just runs off that power from the DL Plus up in the engine bay. I did manage to squeeze a full 60-inch drawer slide into this platform on this 5-foot bed of this Tacoma. It was incredibly tight, and the tolerances are super close, but did manage to make it work. And it's only possible because the front of the bed has an indentation that adds an extra inch of space at this platform height. And I've got a guide on the site that goes through this step by step with detailed diagrams if you want to build one for your Tacoma, or you could probably adopt it for most any truck. But the drawer is a little bit deeper than the old style, so we can keep all of our cookware below the stove, all of our kitchen stuff, and it keeps all of our dry food storage as well. So tons and tons of storage in there. And then there's a access hatch there for getting to the storage space above the wheel well and in front of the wheel well. And we keep our saw and axe and fishing pole and shoes and stuff in there. That's just I think it's a Mud River Outfitters bench seat storage bag that we found fits perfectly on the front of these Go Fast campers. It comes with that like tent pole there, makes mounting it super easy. So tons of storage in there. And behind the fridge, we've still got room for Front Runner Wolfpack, or Camp Legos as we call them, and 3 Front Runner camp chairs. As far as sleeping arrangement goes, Emmeline sleeps here on the platform. Atticus and us are both up in the Go Fast for now. I do have an addition for this platform. This slides out across the rear wheel well. So when Atticus is bigger, they'll sleep in an L format here in the bed. That's how we all 4 sleep, if anybody's curious. All right, I think that's it. Got a little bit of storage on the right side of the water tank, and I'm sure I've forgotten some stuff. It's been a bit of a whirlwind of a build, having a kid and trying to cram this into a year. But we're super stoked on it. It's incredibly versatile, super user-friendly on the road, and on our shakedown wheeling trip, it was more than capable off-road of anything I wanted to throw at it. So looking forward to hitting the road and doing some more traveling here shortly. If you guys have any questions, be sure to drop a comment down below the video. I'll throw some links that are relevant down there as well. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.